Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage. It's great to have you along. There's some of the president this morning. Yeah, I want to actually give you trying to remember what I had set up here for you. The president, prior to, he was jumping on a plane to go to NATO. And this is this morning. And the president's going to drop the F-bomb here. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time. This has not been edited. I want you to hear what the president was saying in regard to what's going on. This is, and we talked about this a little bit this morning, but here is the president as he was boarding the plane and talking to the media for a short period of time. You've got to hear this.
The place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are.
You really are. You're real losers.
You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's
I love this.
Pathetic disgrace.
Okay, here it comes. Ceasefire.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you understand that? and that's where it stops. So really, then this goes on, but then he boards Marine One at that point. But they have fought so long and so hard, they don't know what they're doing. It's kind of true. So I wanted to show you that to give you an impression of how the president was feeling about this morning. So let's go to his True Social account. And then we'll pick it up in the New York Post with some of the latest headlines. But basically, that little bit that I just showed you as he was going to board Marine One really is a lot of the news this morning, is the president's reaction. So here's the president at True Social saying, headed to NATO, where at worst, it will be a much calmer period than what I just went through with Israel and Iran. I look forward to seeing all my good European friends and others. China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran. Hopefully they will be purchasing plenty from the U.S. also. My great honor to make this happen. He's going after Thomas Massey again, the Kentucky Republican. So Trump writes here, keeps talking about how he's going to protect the Constitution, but he's actually very bad for the Constitution and will probably vote against the great big beautiful bill. He's really turning his focus back to the big beautiful bill. The president is. And he's focusing on the biggest tax cuts in history, securing the southern border, funds the Golden Dome, our great military and veterans, protects our Second Amendment, grants no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. What he's really doing here, not so much as criticizing Thomas Massey, he's promoting the big, beautiful bill. And he said of Massey, he is against all of the above and many other incredible things. Why would anyone want to vote for a so-called congressman, a rhino at best, who wants to raise your taxes by 68%, which is what will happen if the great big beautiful bill doesn't pass? He votes no on everything because he thinks it makes him cool. He's not cool. He's a loser, the president says. So he then went on. This is the Secretary General of NATO who's sending a message to the president. Mr. President, dear Donald, congratulations and thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. It makes us all safer. You are flying into another big success in The Hague this evening. It was not easy, but we've got them all signed on the 5%. Donald, you have driven us to a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. You will achieve something no American president in decades could get done. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win. So what are we going to see happen coming up at NATO? So the president's really, again, this is all True Social here this morning. He's going after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the dumbest people in Congress, is now calling for my impeachment, despite the fact that the crooked and corrupt Democrats have already done that twice before. The reason for her rantings is all the victories that the U.S. has had under the Trump administration. The Democrats aren't used to winning, and she can't stand the concept of our country being successful again. When we examine her test scores, that cracks me up. We find out she's not qualified for office, but nevertheless, far more qualified than Crockett. He's talking about Jasmine Crockett, who is a seriously low IQ individual, or Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, who does nothing but complain about our country, yet the failed country she comes from doesn't have a government, is drenched in crime and poverty. It's rated one of the worst in the world. How dare the mouse tells us how to run the United States of America? We're just now coming back from that radical left experiment with Sleepy Joe, Kamala, and the auto pen in charge. What a disaster it was. AOC should be forced to take the cognitive test that I just completed. At Walter Reed, he says, as the doctor in charge said, President Trump aced it, meaning I got every answer right instead of her constant complaining. Alexandria should just go back home to Queens, where I was also brought up, straighten out her filthy, disgusting, crime-ridden streets in the district she represents, which she never goes to anymore. Better start worrying around her own primary before she thinks about beating our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer. Is he going too far here? I welcome your comments. I'd love to see your comments as to whether or not the president's going too far. This cracks me up because I know it gets under their skin. This is why it cracks me up. This is why I laugh. I have laughed at Trump doing this when he was doing it against Republicans in the primaries. When he first ran for president, it was the same thing. It's Donald Trump. So Schumer's career on very thin ice. She and her Democrat friends have just hit the lowest poll numbers in congressional history. So go ahead and try impeaching me again. Make my day, Trump says. Yeah. So he's talking about the big, beautiful bill, turning our attention to the big, beautiful bill, and get this to his desk. So there was also a story I'd seen, I think at the Hill, president's thinking, Mike Huckabee here also. Been a great ambassador to Israel. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, and Huckabee has been very supportive of the president. So it's not surprising to see that. So I wanted to show you the president's True Social account because he's really pouring it on. He is going after them, and he's taking no quarter. And you know when Trump is doing well, because he becomes more like this. Let's take a look at the New York Post and the headlines. No holding back. That was that clip I just shared with you. The president hurling a profane rant. I would not call it a rant, but it was profane. They don't know what they're doing. Here's the thing about Trump. He doesn't rant. Is Trump a ranter? I'm asking you. Is Trump a ranter? I don't see him ranting. But he does go. I guess it's a bit of a rant, but he talked to Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, and this was earlier. So he spoke with Benjamin Netanyahu as he's traveling to the NATO summit, and he said he was. This is coming from the White House. The president was exceptionally firm and direct with Netanyahu regarding the ceasefire. The official said the Israeli leader understood Trump's concerns. Earlier this morning, that piece I just shared with you said both Israel and Iran violated the ceasefire. So at this point, things are settling down, and it appears that the president also, I want to see this, because promising that Iran will never rebuild the nuclear program. He's saying it again. So he said this today. Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities. As I shared that with you from True Social. Yeah, a lot of this is I've already shared. Trying to see if there was anything. I love the way he went after CNN, gutless losers. Oh, this. I wanted to share this. Trump is saying, because there was a True Social comment that he made about regime change, right? And that got a lot of attention because that was generating the headlines yesterday morning. The president's comment on True Social about regime change. And now he is clarifying that. And he's saying, no, he does not want regime change in Iran because it would lead to chaos. If there was, no, I don't want it. I'd like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. He said, regime change takes chaos. And ideally, we don't want to see so much chaos. So we'll see how it goes. So he's not pushing the issue of regime change. And then again, a lot of this is what I've already shared with you. He is encouraging both Iran and Israel to cool it down. And he said again, Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities. That's been a very constant theme. I'm gonna share this again just because I love watching Trump. This is where he going after CNN. Here's the.
It's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those
I love
pilots
this.
did an unbelievable job.
And he's right. The
and,
pilots.
The fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line.
Yeah.
CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated,
Yep.
And the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots; they're after me. They want to try and demean.
And it just doesn't work. I mean, Trump just winds up, turning it right around on the media, and it's just incredible the way that they continue to try and do that. So I'm also seeing a lot of this. I noticed this on the president's Truth Social feed this morning, and I wanted to show you the image that I had seen because it really caught my attention. And I unfortunately, as I go through the president's Truth Social account now, I'm not seeing it, but there is a lot of this out there, and I bet you have seen it. The blank around and find out. What did I say to you yesterday? Were those not my very words? I said, my wife, Katie's got a response for this. It would be F around and find out. So now there are all of these Trump FAFO. F around and find out. You see T-shirts of all kinds. But there's a certain amount of truth in that. It seems like, at least to me, it's the way that strikes me. All right, my friend, you have made it to the end of the video today. I want to thank you. First of all, you are part of my gallery of champions, and a special salute to the Bunker Brigade, those folks that you see here and commenting each and every day. I want to take a look at a few of these comments. Trying to take a look here. Steve's talking about, I saw a judge ordered Maryland man, Abrego Garcia, to be released from jail. And DHS said, no, he will not be released. The Robert thinks Ilhan Omar of Minnesota should be deported. There's actually a fairly good case for that, I think. Steve said, I don't understand the hate. I have a former son-in-law who is Jordanian. Came back last month to stay at our house. People chose to hate. Yeah, I don't get that either. I don't want to be. Here's the thing about hatred. You start letting that live in your soul, and it will corrupt you. Absolutely will corrupt you. That kind of hatred. Cannot win. That's exactly why they stand their ground on the unpopular side of 80-20 issues. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Trying to see if there was anything else there. I think that's it. So thanks for, again, for joining me this morning. Please hit the like button before you leave. I would greatly appreciate that. So until tomorrow, I'm underground and gone.